So I'm gonna blanch some cream peas in my pot, my Ninja foodie pot. Basically, I'm just boiling water. Blanching is really boiling your vegetable for a specific amount of time. Then I'm gonna ice bath them here, but I'm getting the water up to boiling temperature now in the Ninja Foodie. Once it's boiling, you want to have as much water as you can to blanch, so that way the peas, which you'll blanch or broil for 90 seconds, a minute and a half, basically, and then after that minute and a half, they go into the ice. I haven't put the ice in here because I don't want it to melt yet, but the ice bath cools them back off, so they stop cooking. So it's basically that 90 seconds that kills the bacteria that causes, food to break down. And all, vegetables have that bacteria, and that bacteria would continue to break them down when they're frozen if you don't kill it. And that's what the whole idea behind blanching is you kill the bacteria, so then when you freeze it, the bacteria is not there. It's been killed and it can't come back, because of the freezing. So the vegetable doesn't break down, the color doesn't change. Freezer bag, he actually gave it to me when I bought the cream peas. There's one bag of the cream peas. That's 2 pints, $10. You can see I got my water boiling, and it's time for the peas to go in. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright, so we're going to start our time. Started, it's counting down, and once we stop, we got the water here to dump our peas into. Hopefully the amount of pea, I had enough water there that it didn't drop the temperature enough on the peas to cause a problem. I am going to take my spoon though and just ensure that these peas are going down in the liquid. So we got our timer. Now we're going to go ahead and kill the heat. Next thing is I'm going to strain the peas there with the collar. I think that's what it's called, colander, I think. And I'll pour them in from the hot pot there, and then they will go immediately into the oven. Poured them right in there. Hot water was split off of the peas. Then I took that, transferred it over to here. Now all I got to do is just take them and kind of push them down in the water to stop them. They were very hot because one of them, I felt one of them on my hand coming out of this thing, and oh yeah, they were hot. So now we are looking at blanched peas. That means that the bacteria in these peas have been killed, and we got approximately a minute and a half of high heat, I guess boiling water heat, which killed the bacteria. And to stop the cook, because you don't want them cooking, or you want to leave the cook to the final chef who will pull them out of the freezer at some point in the future, up to a year and a half down the road. and that chef will, cook them that they want. And they'll cook them just like they would if they were fresh. I mean, obviously they need to be de-thawed, but at the point that they are de-thawed, then the chef can treat them just like they were when they were fresh, and not worry about them being degraded or anything else. They'll be just as good as they were when they were. You don't have to do this step, but it certainly makes it more convenient for the final chef. But you take the peas after they're blanched, and you can see here they're still, cold from our ice water. Then we spread them out on the tray here, and then we freeze them individually. So we want just a single layer. The whole idea is basically so that, the end chef who pulls these out of the freezer and is going to cook them for a meal doesn't pull out a brick. You don't want, if you just took these right now, throw them in a bag, they're wet. Well, even if they weren't, the moisture, from the beans would come out, and you'd have a brick. So by putting them on the tray and then freezing them individually, then we can throw the whole thing back in the bag, and the peas are frozen individually, and the chef can pull the bag out of the freezer and de-thaw the peas, but doesn't have to use the whole thing. You can pull part of them out of the bag, put the rest of them back in. You don't have a big brick that has to be de-thawed. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. We're going to go ahead and dump these on here. Again, if they're not completely all single layer on the tray, that's all right. I mean, we're just really trying to avoid the whole thing freezes together as a clump. So I will spread them out. I can't do that and hold the camera, but I'm going to spread them out as much as possible, so that way at least the final chef will be able to portion them as to how much they want to use. So you can see there's my tray, goes right up there in the top, fits perfectly. That's 2 pints of cream peas, so that'd be a couple of meals, probably two family meals, maybe. If it's a side for the Goss family, that might be a meal and a half. But anyway, so you can see it's in the top of my freezer. Doesn't have to be up there for about 30 minutes, and they're frozen. Then we'll put them in the bag, and they'll go back into the freezer till I'm ready to ship them. So after they're frozen, you'll find that they're a little bit even though they're all covering the pan, they're kind of a little frozen together, which they break apart. But you need to take a big spoon like this and turn it upside down and just slide it like that right through. It breaks them apart, and then you can just scoop them right up, throw them in the bag, just like that. And of course, when the bag goes back in the freezer, now then the peas will be really easily pulled apart because they're already frozen, and they might stick together a little bit for the final person that pulls them out to de-thaw them, to cook them, to do the final cook, but not enough that you can't easily break them apart because of this process.